Need one or more. You need one or more dimension. I need one or two measures to create a pie chart in Tableau. Okay, now I'm interested to know people that have prior sign of mental health issue. And I go to my data set and let's see the data. Let's see the data so that you understand the data. Those that have prior sign of mental health issue. You can see the data we have clear. We have people that have prior sign of mental issue. Yes, we have prior sign of mental health issue. And we see some, yes, we see some TBD, that is to be determined. And we see some uncleared, why some are no. So we want to see if most of them or all have we diagnose upon mental health issue or not. So I go to prior sign of mental health issue to see if they actually are. And so I click on that. Then Tableau said I need one dimension and one measure. Now I've gotten my dimension, that is prior sign of mental health issue, the dimension, and let me see the total victim. If I'm interested in total victim, I click on that. Now you can see that the pie chart is active. Now I can click on the pie chart. When I click on the pie chart, I'm able to create a pie chart in Tableau. So once I click on this, I go to entire view. You can see it's very, very large. That's one way of putting the pie chart on Tableau. Let me see. So now it has given me my pie chart. So now I want to put the label there. So those with prior sign of mental health issue, those that have prior sign of mental health issue, I click and I drop on the label. Now you can see the people that has mental health issue that look at yes. You can see that the yes is the largest. That means most of the people that were involved in the gun violence that took place in US, most of them have mental health issue. While this other part of the circle and this other segment of the circle is telling me it's unclear whether those people have mental health issue or not. Why is other part of the circle telling us that to be determined, they are yet to be determined? Why they said no? So that is the number of people that were not diagnosed with a mental health issue that actually were involved in gun violence in US. A similar percentage of them were a smaller percentage of them were not involved in, a smaller percentage of them have no gun, have no mental health issue. Now, let me delete this. Let's get something now. I can decide to let me know the number of people that have mental health issue out of the total number of people that were involved in gun violence in the US. I want to say the total number of people that were diagnosed or total number of people that have mental health issue before that particular incident, and the total number of people that did not have that mental health issue, that has no mental health problem before that particular time. So I click on this. When I click on that, I go to create column. Now I can see number of those with no number of those with mental health issue. Let's call that mental health issue. Okay. Now I want to do that. I'm going to use the count variable, which is the count function, which is also a function in Excel. I click on that. I go to prior sign of mental health issue. I drag and drop there. I click on apply and I click on OK. Now I've gotten my measure. Now you can see it's being displayed at the bottom part of this Tableau window. That's to tell you that is a measure. So that is a measure. And remember to create a pie chart. Once I place the mouse pointer in, at the bottom here, you see the description that I need a one dimension, one or more dimension, and one or two measure. So I've gotten my measure here, so I need a dimension. So I press down my control key and then I click on my dimension, which is prior sign of mental health issue. Now it's not active because Tableau is not recognizing that as a measure. So I have to change it to a measure. If I actually want to use it, I have to change it to a measure before I can use that. So that means I can't use that particular variable. So let's continue with what we were doing the other time. So let's go back to that. We have power sign of mental health issue. Let's click a control key and take on total victim and take on that. Now you can see when I got a value, the pie chart here is not active. It's not active. The pie chart is not active. So, but if I still insist that I want to use that particular this measure I just created now, I can decide to say, okay, number of mental health issue. I drag and drop there. Then when I drag and drop there, I can click on this. I go to the pie chart. Now, it has already given me something circular. So I'm looking at those with a prior sign of mental health issue. I drag and I drop here. Now, then when I drag and drop there, I come to number of mental health issue. That gives me number of mental health issue. So let me undo that. Final sign of mental health issue, yes. Final sign of mental health issue. Now you can see I've gotten the pie chart since I insisted that I want to use this particular measure I created, number of mental health issue. Since I insisted I want to use this particular measure I created, that is how you can, that's another way of creating a pie chart in Tableau. So let's go back to what we were doing before. Now I click on those with prior sign of mental health issue and I press down my control key and I go to my total victim. Now you can see it's active. I click on that. When I click on that, I can enlarge that by clicking here and click on entire. That enlarges. Now I want to see those with a prior sign of mental health issue. I drag and I drop here. When I drag and drop there, Tableau gives me the number. I can see yes, those with a mental health issue. Now I want to see the number of yes, the number of no. I can now take my measure that I calculated, I drag and drop there. Now you can see the number of yes is 66, the number of no is 17. Now those people that have prior sign of mental health issue, that shows sign of mental problem that were involved in gun violence in US that are part of the shooter, those people that actually perpetrated such acts. Now 66 of them were diagnosed with mental health issue, 17 no, 5 to be determined, why 53 it was unclear whether those people have a mental health problem or not. Now that is as for the sign of mental health issue. Now if I still want to let me see the pie chart. Okay, now if I want to know the number of people, the number of each of them. Now this is yes. Now I want to see, for instance, I want to turn this to percentage. Now this is the prior sign of mental health issue. That's the number. This is the you click on this. You click on this button. I can go to quick table calculation, and I change that to percentage. Now you can see the number is being changed to percentage. That's telling you that the number of people, about 46.81% of people were diagnosed with mental health issues that were involved in gun violence in the US. So about 12.06% had no mental health problem that were involved in gun violence in the US, while 3.55% is to be determined, while 37.59% it was unclear whether they have a mental health issue or not. Now, that is that. Now, for those people that are still sign of mental health issue, now I want to look at the total injured, those people that were injured during the act. those people were injured, the fatality, and now, so let's see. Now you can see that people that have access to gun in US, most of them that were involved in this gun violence, most of them have prior sign of mental health issue. The question is this: how do they have access to gun? Because now we are going to check if their gun were actually legalized, if the weapon were actually legal, if they got it legally or not. We are going to look into that. So now let's see the total fatality. I drag and drop on the label. Now you can see it's giving me the fatality. Now let's go to the injured, drag and drop, and total victim. Now, since you are creating your visualization for the user or the final user, it is better you label this visualization because 46.81% people will not really understand that. So that is the number of those that have prior sign of mental health issue. I click on that. The moment I click on that, I click on the label. I come to this. I look for that percentage of total. Now I can click and type number of now. Okay. Now those with a number of prior health issue. Now the other one is injured. Let's say injured. Then the next is the prior sign of mental health issue. That is yes, no. Sign of. Then I have the other one, the fatality, and you can represent that with the F. And I have the one for total victim. You can represent that with a T. I click on, okay, let me like this, and then let me golden it, and then use the red color. I think that will be visible. Okay. Right. Then okay. Now you can see that that is too big. Let me go back. Let me reduce the font. Now you can see. Now you can see injured. You can see sign with mental health issue. Is saying me yes. Now if this is too big, we can still reduce it. Also, you keep on. We go back. You can reduce that. Let's highlight this and let's reduce it. Let's say let's make it 6. So you can see that now. So those are that's how to create the pie chart, and so that's how to create a pie chart. Then another way of creating the pie chart, which is the drag and drop, creating the pie chart. Now let's see this the another way of creating the pie chart. Let me duplicate this. Now I want to create the pie chart. So I click on those with the prior sign of mental health issue. I drag and drop there. Okay. Now you can see when I click on prior sign of mental health issue now, those that have prior sign of mental health issue, they are divided into 4 categories. The one category is no sign of mental health issue before the act. The other one to be determined. before the act. The other one, it was unclear whether they had a mental health issue or not. Why the last set is yes, it was quite obvious that they had a mental health issue before the act. Now we can expand that, click on this, and go to the standard toolbar and click on interview. Now you can see that now if I'm interested to know the number of those that have prior sign of mental health issue. Now remember I calculated this. Remember this, let me click on this and edit. Now you can see this particular table, we call this particular table, I did the calculation. So I'm going to drag this. Now and I'm going to drag this and drop into the size. Now you can see the one with the smaller size tells us that the number of those that were involved in gun violence in US, but the mental health were yet to be determined is very small, followed by those that had no mental health issue before the act, but those with a mental health issue before the act is the largest. So we can just use that to see. Now I want to see now, these people have no pure signs of mental health. Now the gun now that were used in carrying out this act, were they legal? Now were they legalized? Now we can go to weapon obtained legally. Now when you go to our data set, we have a column that says weapon obtained legally. Now you can see weapon obtained legally, unknown, yes, and so on. Weapon obtained legally, unknown, yes, no, to be determined. Now, so we are going to drag that weapon obtained legally because we want to create a pie chart. We place it inside the column. Now you can see it gives me various columns. Now for me to know which one is yes, which one no, drag weapon obtained legally and place it there. Now you can see those that have a mental health issue before the act, those that have a mental health issue before the act, which is yes. Now, where their weapon obtained legally, you can see the yes. You can see the segment of the pie chart of those that had mental health issue before the act. They obtained their weapon were obtained legally. Now, this little portion represents those it was not unknown whether their weapon was obtained legally before the act, while this other one is telling us no and represents 9 if their weapon was obtained legally. And you can see the other one that we have no, they have no mental health issue before the act. Now you can see the other various ways of creating a pie chart. Now I can start putting this, the total victim and the legal weapon and so on. So if I want to get the total victim, you drag and drop into the label. It gives you the label now, just as I have the label here. So I have them legally weapon and so on. All what you need to do, you just need to drag and drop on the label. Then you follow the same process I followed. You come to this, you click here, and then you type whatever you want to type and you click apply and okay, it will reflect there. So that is the third way of creating a pie chart in Tableau. So we are going to wrap up the class here. Let me take any question. If you have a question, let me take a question before we wrap it up. We'll continue on that place. We are going to continue that tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the tree map, how to create the tree map, and then more visualization. So please, do you have any question before I go offline? Any question? Okay.
Hi, good evening, bro.
Yeah, good evening, my brother.
I don't have a question, bro. From what I've seen here, I think I've not what I want to say is that Tableau is all about data visualization. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all about data visualization.
Okay, okay. Bro, the Tableau that I downloaded on my laptop,
Yes.
I don't know. I think I made a mistake. So I tried to open it and it says continue trial. That's what I keep seeing on my screen. I don't know how to.
You downloaded a desktop version. what you need to do, uninstall that particular Tableau and download another one. Download Tableau Public.
Tableau what?
Public.
Okay, Tableau public.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you can use it as long as you want.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. So see you tomorrow. We'll continue the class tomorrow. Thank
All
you.
right, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, thank you very much for the class. Good night.
Good night.